Sorry about that. Had my mic down. That's in Louisiana. We're sorry. We had some problems with the computer. Mississippi. I'm sorry. We'll play that again. That's Mississippi. That's Mississippi. We're back tonight, folks. Stay with us. We're going to take your comments about some things tonight. We're going to talk about a few things. Good to see everybody back in the house. Hang on just a second here. And be sure to like and share the video out. But that is what's going on down south in the Gulf tonight and Gulf Coast area. So please pray for these folks and Sheila Daspit and all that group. Before we got kicked off of here, the area down Gulfport, Biloxi is underwater. Mobile, my brother is in Mobile, and they had a lot of water tonight down there too. And so it's been a very rough weather season. And we were talking about how that before the computer went down, Illinois has had the most tornadoes of any state in the union during this sort of weird time that we're taking place. That's this late spring-like system, the late spring-like system that we're having here in the South and in really the Midwest as well. And this was a weird situation yesterday in Mississippi too, or today I should say. Max posted this 10 hours ago. They had a flash flood emergency near Cottonport, Louisiana, the same city that I just showed you, and a tornado warning at the same time. They were telling people to get to the lowest part of their basement. At the same time, they were telling them get to the higher ground you could to not be killed by the flood. That's how dangerous this thing got today. And our prayers for all these folks out there and so forth. Sorry, we're had to come back on. For those of you just joining us, we had a little blip there. The story I want to talk about tonight, and it is a given that, as you know, Mr. Obama, I don't even want to call him president, but he was at the library today, or making his speeches today at his library, and him and Michelle had some comments to say about the country that I felt like were very disrespectful. But that's what we've had. We've come to appreciate in the Obamas. Not that I appreciate them, but I'm trying to get this downloaded here so you can listen to this. This is about a minute clip. Hopefully this won't do to our computer what the other video did. If it did, we'll come back. We'll just make this a three-nighter. We'll just make this a three-nighter if we need to, because I want you to listen to this right here. This is Barack Obama earlier today. This is him at his press conference at the Chicago dedication of the library. Listen to what he's got to say, and I got some thoughts about this. Roll the tape.
Union, the founders fell terribly short of the Declaration's promise, leaving slavery intact, allowing states to restrict the franchise to white men who own property. But in drafting a Constitution and a Bill of Rights, they did have the foresight, the genius, to provide us with a framework that allows each generation to make our union more perfect. And over more than 2 centuries, through petitions and protests, marches and strikes, moral appeals from the pulpit, and conversations at the family dinner table, men and women from all walks of life, of every color, every faith, every region, took up the cause of democracy and made it their own, until we, the people, came to include not just some of us, but all of us.
I'm going to pause it right there. There's Bush Jr. there today. He looked like a fish out of water. And you cannot tell me that George Bush Jr. And Laura Bush were comfortable sitting there listening to this crap. Obama trashed Bush like there was no tomorrow during the 2008 election of John McCain. And Bush let him do it. Look, I was no fan of Bush. Didn't like him. I felt like, we could have done a lot worse on 9/11 if we had had Gore within the White House at the time instead of Bush. But Michelle's face, and there's the $2 that says it all. Let me give you a little idea what Barack Obama was saying today. He was basically trashing the founding fathers that we were, basically started the country because of whites. It was a white supremacist kind of country that was started by our founding fathers. And, we have suppressed blacks and we've suppressed black voting and we've done all these things. And folks, there was, with no question, and I'm not going to even argue the point, that part of the reason we fought the Civil War was to end slavery. But I would like to remind Mr. Barack Obama that the ones that promoted slavery in the South was his party. The one that promoted the KKK and produced the KKK was his party. And black slave owners in Africa are the ones that sent the slaves over to America. And we're no way in justifying it. I was reading some crazy nut story today that some guy got fired from a church because he basically said what I just said. Got fired from his church. They called it hate speech. And, let me remind Mr. Barack Obama and Miss Michelle that this is not a white supremacist country. If you heard the judge tonight, I think Judge Sherilyn Allen, she's a retired African-American judge, and I couldn't have said it better than to hear her talk about race relations in this country. She experienced racism in the 40s and the 50s, but this is not the same country. We've not been the same country since we fought that Civil War in 1865. There have been struggles, and there have been issues with that. There have been. But the country's changed, and all men are created equal. And as she said, it's not about the color of your skin, it's the color of your character that matters, and it should matter. But it don't anymore. Everything is based on race. This Carmela Anthony thing is being framed by the media, framed by his parents, that if it would have been a black jury, they would have got him off. And it shouldn't matter what color jury it was. If you kill the kid, you kill the kid. It shouldn't matter what color the jury is. And see, that's the media, and that's Barack, and that's Michelle stoking this stuff. Every time they say something like that, and they say, well, it was a white jury or it was a black jury, it doesn't matter what color the jury is. If justice is being served, it don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter who the defendant is. It don't matter if the defendant's black, white, yellow, green, orange, or in between. It don't matter who they are as long as justice is served. That lady justice has got a blindfold around her eyes for a reason. She's blind to those things. When true justice is administered, it doesn't matter what color your skin is. But this is where we're at. But that was the most disrespectful speech I think I've ever heard. The little clip, that clip alone, was Barack Obama in 10 minutes. That's a summary of what they feel. And it's what they sowed into this country. And I'll put it like this. There are only 2 or 3 libraries that I would love to visit in my lifetime. I visited one of them with Harry Truman. Wasn't a fan of Harry Truman with his Democrat stuff in the late 40s when he took over for FDR. But one thing that Harry Truman did, he was the force behind the United States supporting the reformation of the nation of Israel in 1947 and then 48 in May when Israel declared statehood. For the first time, basically, in 2,000 years. It was Harry Truman that saw to that. And I went to his museum, his bookstore, whatever you call it, his museum. I don't know what year it was. We was out in Missouri, and but I stopped. It may have been one of the trips in South Dakota, and I stopped in Missouri to see it. But I went to that display. It's the only thing I cared to look at was that part of his museum that was dedicated. And it's probably the biggest part of the museum. It's dedicated to that event. The only library that I would care to see is Trump's. I'd love to go out to California, see Ronald Reagan's and Richard Nixon's. Those libraries I would love to go see in their museum. These other yahoos, no, I don't think I would care. And I can guarantee you this, death, taxes, and Chris not going to Barack Obama's presidential monstrosity. I can promise you that tonight. That I can promise you will not happen. That will not happen. But let me just say this. The judge said it better than I could ever say it, but I'll just say it tonight since we're up late and I got the adults in the house and not the kids. So listen to me. Listen to me. This idea that this country is racist, it comes from the race peddlers of Barack Obama. Barack Obama and Michelle have replaced the Sharptons. They've replaced the Jacksons. They've replaced the Malcolm X's. And they've replaced the Farrakhan's. Malcolm X actually wasn't a race baiter. Malcolm X told his own people, they are playing you for chumps. They are playing you like a fiddle. Speaking of the Democrat Party, speaking of the black leaders, and I love what the judge said tonight. Isn't it amazing that when you hear the media talk, that when they talk about it in racial terms, and she said it so beautifully tonight, that the black community is the only community out there that they use the term black leadership, the black leaders, the African American leaders of the country. You don't hear about the white leaders of the country, do you? You don't even hear about the Hispanic leaders of the country. You don't hear about the Asian leaders of the country. They always make an issue with the black leaders and the black voices of the country, which has divided and led their own people down a path of abysmal failure. Poverty, fatherless homes, crime. You heard the judge got 3 boys. She said it beautifully. And for you that are out there getting your little racist feathers up, let me remind you that Judge Allen is a black lady. She's a black judge, has been first African-American judge that ever got elected to the Pennsylvania Superior Court, has got more sense in her pinky than most of our voices do out there in their entire body combined. No, but she said it. She said, if my boys, even though they wasn't perfect, she said, I fear if they would have had crime done to them, it would have been done by a fellow black man or a black person. Now, you can call Chris McDonald a racist for saying that, but you're going to have to call her a racist too for saying that. And many people will. But it's true. What I'm trying to get at is this tonight. When you hear this absolute pathetic demonic loser run his mouth and insinuate that our country was built upon white supremacy and our founding fathers were basing the Constitution on interest of white people and not interest of the country, which is a crock of crap, then you need to reject that, number one. But you need to realize that the spirit behind that, folks, is Satan. The spirit behind that man and that woman is Satan. I don't know who the prophet was. I've got it on another computer, and I've been meaning to download it forever and play it. But I remember back in 2000, and it was either 8 or 2012, and the Lord spoke to her. She had did not like John McCain or Mitt Romney, one of the, I don't know which election it was. But anyway, this prophet had seen through Barack Obama. She took it to the Lord and she said, Lord, I don't know what to do. I'm not a big fan of his, but I'm not a big fan of the Republican either. I don't know how to vote. And she said, please show me, give me a sign, tell me something. What's going on in our country? She sensed it. She sensed the evil. And I never will forget this. She said the Lord told her this. This was, 15 years ago now? He said, Barack Obama is a silver fork-tongued devil. And she said, the Lord told her that his tongue would sow division and sow rampant hate in this country, and it did exactly that. The Lord also told her, he said, I'm going to deal with his heart, but he said, I will warn you that his tongue is a silver, he is a I can't talk tonight, a silver fork-tongued devil. And I couldn't even listen to that clip. I can't even listen to the clip. That 1-minute clip makes me want to go take a bath tonight. And as I told the judge, there's only a few people in this world that I feel that way about. That when they talk, I just can't even listen to them. I got to turn the crap off. the crap they put out of the sewer that they speak is every time they speak, you just feel like you want to, again, jump in the toilet with your clothes on, jump in the bath with your clothes on. He's one of them. His wife's another one. Joe Biden's another one. Bill Clinton's another one. Bill, I can stomach just a little bit, but his wife, can't listen to her. Can't listen to her. Can't listen to her. Nancy Pelosi's one of the same ilk. Jamie Raskin from New York's another one. Hakeem Jeffries is another one. Chuck Schumer. There's some Republicans I feel the same way about too. But my point is tonight, folks, we're not a racist country. And if you want to argue that we are, and you want to say that the country's problems is due to racism, I've got a predominantly Christian audience in this show. This is a faith network, a news network. We've got a Christian audience. And I can tell you that we've got people that come into this chat that are black, and we've got people that come into this chat that are Hispanic. We've got people that come into this chat and the show and interact with this show that are white. And we've got Asians. And I can tell you, I have never in 8 years on this show had any racially charged comment by anybody toward each other in this network because people are believers. The love of Jesus is the only cure for racism in this country. If you want to say there are racists, I'm going to agree with you on that because there are racists. But even that argument, we must admit and we must take a look at ourselves as the blacks want us to do. But let me remind the black community tonight, the African American community, which I respect deeply. I respect you deeply. This is not a racial comment, what I'm about to make to you. But if you're going to argue this point, then you better take a doggone good look at your own community and look at how blacks treat blacks. Look at the black on black crime. Look at the rappers and their lyrics, what they say about their own people. Before you come preaching to the white community about the racism in the white community, and then take a good look at how the blacks treat the whites. Take a look. And then if you want to come have a discussion with me about racism, I'll sit down and we will talk. And we will talk. What you heard there, just there, that minute, minute of Barack Obama was nothing but another attempt to racially divide this country, which they've been doing from the day they stepped foot in that White House. And as I told the judge, I'm a little wired up tonight, I told the judge, I've never believed that I've heard some on the right say, well, it's all started with the Obamas. It did not. No. This country has had this problem for a long, long time. We've had it for a long time. But the Barack and Michelle Obama time in this era of this country, they poured gas on it. They did pour gas on it. And I have been slow to say that. I have been very careful to say that because I'm not here to blame people. We're not here to blame certain people. And we're not here to blame anybody because we all are responsible. We all, as a nation, we need to take a look at ourselves. We need to judge ourselves before we judge somebody else. And I'm going to tell you this tonight, that I've come to that conclusion. I've come to that place in my own heart and life. These two poured gasoline on it. And the whole Democrat Party does not want unity. They don't want us to be united. They claim that people of conservatism and Christians are the ones that's hindering this utopia and hindering the country from coming together. And I would say to them, to their face tonight, please tell me somebody that's truly born again that's racist. Please tell me somebody that's truly a believer in Jesus that treats their fellow man based upon their race in any other way other than with respect, love, and truth. Sometimes it doesn't matter what color your skin is. Let me change that. All the time, it doesn't matter what the color of our skin is. Some folks need the truth. All need the truth. And again, if we're going to speak truth, then we can't have it one-sided. It can't just be that the whites are evil and that the oppression is always coming from the whites to the blacks, that's a lie. That is a blatant, satanically inspired lie. Now, this is a late night show. This is better than Kimmel and the other jerks out there that are on the late night show. You're getting more in about 10 minutes here than you get with them in 6 weeks. But I'm ready to have a talk about the race issue in this country. I'm more than ready, because it works both ways. And until the leadership of the black community, the race baiters like Barack Obama and Michelle, repent and come to their senses and go before that camera and say, we're all guilty. We're all at fault with this. I don't want to hear what they got to say. I don't want to hear what they got to say. And I could care less. Death, taxes, and Chris will not be going to the Barack Obama Presidential Museum. And I pray you contractors get your money. By the way, half of the contractors that built the thing are claiming that they didn't get paid by them. So they're not only racist, they're a bunch of stiffs. They're a bunch of stiffs. All righty. I'll amen myself on that one. I got one amen corner out there. I got Bear. Good to see you tonight, Bear. Good to see you. These opinions are mine. These opinions are mine on this Thursday night. All right. Another thing I want to talk about real quick. This has been something that has been eating at my crow because I'm a baseball fan. But I am proud of this Pennsylvania minor league baseball club, the Revolutions, and they basically forfeited a game. They would not go on the field because they refused. They're part of Major League Baseball. It's the minor league system. They refused to wear pride-themed jerseys. They were told to wear them out on the field. They said, we're not going to do it. Manager got mad. The owner of the team got mad. The Major League Club got mad about it. They said, well, no big deal. Umpires warned them, you're going to forfeit the game. They would rather forfeit the game than forfeit their faith. They chose to forfeit their game instead of forfeit their faith and forfeit their conscience and forfeit their soul. God, to have a lot of revolutionaries in this country. God, help us to get some revolutionaries that are willing to stand up and not worry about forfeiting their soul and stand up. I'm going to say this tonight, folks. We are not bigoted. We are not homophobic. I don't want to start preaching about homosexuality. We ain't done that in a while on Sunday morning. Maybe we need to. Jesus Christ, my simple message to the homosexual community is real simple. Jesus Christ can set you free. This lifestyle that you're living is not normal. It's not normal against nature. It's an abomination against God. It's an abomination against yourself. It's the most disrespectful thing. It's an abomination against kids. 2 men trying to have a baby. 2 men raising a baby is a travesty. It's a monstrosity. It's wickedness. It's demonic evil. 2 women trying to raise a kid, claiming it's normal. It's not normal. It's not normal. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to say I condemn you. If that's how you want to live and you believe that's the right way and you're deceived and you don't see anything wrong with that, there's other than the light of the gospel of Jesus Christ shining down on your heart and your mind, that's all that can get you out of that darkness and whatever. But we do not condemn you. I say that to you in the greatest of love. I know we're accused of saying that in hate. No, it's not hate. It's not hate. It's just the opposite. I was told one time, just about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, this show was just getting started, and I never will forget the email. Somebody sent me an email and said, I listened to your show, and I wish you would stop condemning all the homosexuals to hell. And I think I responded, but I know I said it on the show. I responded it on the show. I said, no, we're not trying to condemn you to hell. We're trying to keep you from it. We're trying to keep you from it. We're trying to keep you from it, folks. I salute this baseball team. I salute those giant players that would not bow and wrote the scriptures on their hats. In Major League Baseball, you should be ashamed, an absolute shamed of yourself for doing this and allowing this to take place in front of these kids on these nights where these players are out there wearing those jerseys and basically on the kiss cam, because usually when you go to a baseball game, they have an inning where if you're husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend, they want you to kiss, and they call it the kiss cam, and they show it as a fun thing, and people laugh and to watch some of the reactions. I don't want my 6-year-old grandson seeing two men kissing on a camera. I don't want my 6-year-old grandson to see two women kissing on a camera. If I'm taking him to see a baseball game, because that's not what I'm taking the baseball game to see. Now, I know that sounds a little cutting and a little harsh, but take that as what you will. But I salute the revolutionaries. God helped to have more teams do it. Just forfeit the game. They wouldn't do it. And they've told their manager, we are not wearing those jerseys. You can fire us all and send us to wherever, but we're not going to wear those jerseys. Thank God. I almost want to go get me a revolutionary jersey for that. Somebody needs to say amen tonight. Somebody needs to say amen tonight. Ho, 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 ho. I'll amen myself on that one. Amen myself on that one. Let me see what else I got here. President Trump, we didn't have a chance to talk a lot last night about it because it was our face show. We didn't have a news show last night, but we do tonight. But I do want to show you something. This is Maloney tonight. Looks like him and her have kissed and made up. I say kissed and made up. I wouldn't say so much kiss, but they were seen before he left the G7 summit, and it seems to be that she said some kind words to him before they left. I think that's what they were trying to send me here. Here it is on the plane. This is on may have been Air Force One, or it was right at the airport before they left. But I wanted to show you this because this is him and her seeming to make nice. She was not too nice to him just a few months ago, and Trump didn't take too kindly to it, as Trump does. But this is them tonight. I'm afraid to refresh it. I was hoping it would come up. I tell you what, we'll get that queued for tomorrow night. Some of these videos, I'm just afraid to refresh if they don't show up right away, because that's what cut us off a while ago. But anyway, wanted to show you that. This is Vance today about this Iranian deal, and I got some things to share with you about that, and then I'm going to take your questions at midnight. We're past the midnight hour. You're watching a special McFiles Late Night Lights Out on Fire midnight special on a Thursday night, now Friday. This is J.D. Vance today, who went on The View, and he says now Joy Behar's his best friend. Wow. Megan's his best friend. He went on Megan's show. And got some interesting things to say about J.D. maybe tomorrow night. But I want you to listen to this.
I saw the Axios report, that Netanyahu is fuming. That's not reflective of the conversations that I've had with him, but maybe he's saying something to somebody else that he's not saying to me. What I will say, and this does bother me, is that you've seen people within Bibi's cabinet who have come out and attacked the deal, and in some ways very personally attacked the President of the United States. And I guess my message to them would be twofold. Number one, Donald J. Trump is the only head of state in the entire world who is sympathetic to the nation of Israel at this moment in time. And he happens to be the head of state of the world superpower. If I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that I have anywhere left in the entire world. And the second message I would give to some of those cabinet members. Bibi, to his credit, has not gone down this path. But to some of these cabinet members in Israel who are attacking the President of the United States, the other thing that I would say is that over the last 3 months, 2/3 of the defensive weapons that have protected your homeland have been built by American hands and paid for by American tax dollars. The problem for Israel is not Donald J. Trump. And anybody in Israel who thinks their biggest problem is the President of the United States needs to wake up and smell the reality of the situation that country is in. Thank you all.
Okay, now, again, I can't refresh it. I'm going to try to download these videos tomorrow night. I may play that again tomorrow night. But I want to say something about JD said. It's echoing his boss. And folks, let me just, again, put this qualifier on what I'm about to say. I love President Trump. I'm not the biggest fan of J.D. Vance. I think that he has killed his chances for 28, not condemning this anti-Semitism. This is the same J.D. Vance that has been hobnobbing with Tucker Carlson, hobnobbing with Candace Owens, hobnobbing with Megyn Kelly, who are all virtually vehemently anti-Israel, anti-sentiment. Israel should go away and this and that and the other. We're all entitled to our opinion, but he is the vice president of the United States. And he almost was insinuating that if America does not protect Israel, then, Israel is not going to be able to stand. And there is a certain little bit of truth to that, because you've heard me say this many times, that one of the reasons that our country was established was to protect Israel. And I will tend to agree with him to a degree that President Trump is the only head of state that cares about them. I don't think Israel has many friends in the Middle East. I know she doesn't have many in Asia. She doesn't have many in Russia. She doesn't have many in Central and South America. But I have to tell you what Trump said Thursday and Wednesday, or I should say Wednesday and Tuesday, when he basically said that Israel wouldn't exist if it wasn't for me. And they're shoving this Iran deal down their throats. That was the most arrogant thing I've ever heard come out of this president's mouth, and he has said a lot of arrogant things. I've run that video by so many people. We're going to have Brad Johnson on next week. I've run it by James Akers. I've run it by Eric. I've run it by all of them that I know. And, it's not a good look. It's not good for our country, folks. But I want you to listen to Trump again. I want to play this again. It's about a 4-minute clip. You've heard it before, but I want you to just listen to him compared to what you just heard JD say, because one thing we know, they're saying this is JD's nuke deal. I think it's both. Roll tape.
Mr. President, what are the expectations for Israel? Can this deal survive if Israel attacks Lebanon?
It can, and I consider that the minor war. Iran's a big one, but we have that a little pinprick out there that constantly rears its head, and that's Hezbollah. And I was very responsible for Syria, and the man that's running Syria now is a person that I put there along with President Erdogan and some others. He's done an amazing job of pulling it together. He's not a Boy Scout, but he's done an amazing job of pulling it together. And he is very good with Hezbollah, does not like them. And I'll tell you what, Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long, and too many people are being killed. And you don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody, because there are a lot of people in those apartment houses, and they're not all Hezbollah, that I can tell you. And I suggested to Israel to let Syria take care of Hezbollah.
He's basically saying to Israel, let Syria take care of Hezbollah. Folks, the leader of Syria is part of Hezbollah. He's part of ISIS. He was a former ISIS freedom fighter. It's not a freedom fighter, it's an ISIS terrorist. They're buddies. They're not going to take care. How many, I get a quick poll tonight. How many of you in this chat believe that Syria would take care of the Hezbollah problem of Israel tonight? How many of you believe that that statement is true? If you believe it's true, I want you to put a thumbs up. If you believe it's not true, I just want you to say no. Quick quick poll, real quick, both Facebook and YouTube. And I love President Trump, but I vehemently disagree with that statement. And I disagree with something's coming up here in a minute, too. We talked about this Tuesday night. I'm revisiting it for a reason. Anybody want to chime in? Do you believe that Syria, in good faith, is ever going to take care of the Hezbollah situation with these rockets? With these rockets. I'm just curious. Asking for a friend. Asking for a friend. Asking for a friend. I haven't seen a thumb up yet. I don't see a thumb up friend. Vicky, I see your comment about the teacher. I'm glad you mentioned it. I'm going to mention her too. There was a teacher that out in Colorado got fired for trying to teach their kids how to kiss. Lesbians, by the way. All right. I don't see a thumb yet. We've got some common sense people. We've got some people that understand the Middle East more than some of the people in the White House tonight. Maybe they do understand this. And I know that I've seen both sides of this. Don Jr.'s chirping about it. Vance is chirping about it. Trump is sensitive about it. Kushner is behind this. Wyckoff's behind it. But I want to say it again. That's foolishness if he believes that Syria will take care of the Hezbollah problem. Folks, do you realize that tonight they signed this MOU hasn't, the ink on it hadn't dried. They ain't even really officially signed it. I think they're going to do it tomorrow in Switzerland. Trump signed it in Versailles last night. The Hezbollah rockets, E.L. Jacobi, who is a great ex-accountant, I should have downloaded his statement tonight. Hezbollah is shooting rockets already again. There's been strikes tonight in southern Lebanon by the Israeli government. They've had to do it to go after these Hezbollah terrorists. Well, if Syria is so committed to doing this, start now. Because they've got something to do now. Because Hezbollah keeps shooting rockets into Israel. And folks, Israel has a right to defend herself. And while I do believe President Trump is a friend to Israel, he cannot expect her to sit around and not tear into Hezbollah. And I disagree with this idea. It's almost like he's giving the mullahs a pass. And I know people are out there arguing, no, he's not, because he said he'd blow them to smithereens. Maybe he will. But I look at the Iran situation and this situation with Israel as two separate things. If we're going to deal with Iran, we deal with Iran. But we are literally being played for a fool every time that Israel attacks Hezbollah when Iran says, well, if they attack them, we're not going to hold up our bargain about this nuke deal. If I was President Trump, it's a good thing Christopher Wayne McDonald ain't president. They would understand, as Jenny Castellanova likes, I need to find that clip. This is a auxiliary computer when the other one crashed a few months ago. But her favorite thing was that little clip I played, that do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? That would be a do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth moment. And then I'd have to tell you to close your ears. I wouldn't put up with that mess from Iran. And I tell you what I would not do. I would not betray my friend who has got our back as well, just like we claim we've got her back over there. Anything the American government has ever asked Israel to do in support of trying to rid this world of terrorism, I'll say it again tonight, folks. This October the 7th war that people have called a genocide is not a genocide on the behalf of Israelis. It's been genocide on behalf of Hamas. If the American government would have helped Israel go and rid the world of these Hamas terrorists, just like Trump had the gumption to do with ISIS, we wouldn't have had that war lasting 2 years, as Trump was complaining about in this same video. We could have helped them do this. We could help them with Hezbollah. Why isn't an American bombing Hezbollah with them? Instead of complaining about what they're doing and let the Iranians play us like a fiddle. Keep rolling this tape.
Because to be honest with you, I think they'd do a better job of doing it.
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't.
And I didn't like Syria. I didn't like where 2 hours before we're signing the agreement that there was an attack in Lebanon, in Beirut. It wasn't like in the southern side, and it was in Beirut. I did not like that. I let them know that. I didn't like it, not at all. But I think that Syria, he's pulled that country together amazingly quickly. He's very capable. And he's been very good for me. He's protected everything that I've asked for, he's done. And if Israel can't do the job without killing everyone else, he'll do the job. Syria will do the job.
No, they won't. No, they won't.
No, we had a great relationship. We're talking about some end details. I didn't like that he did an attack based on there's a very minor little thing with some drones.
A very minor little thing with drones. I wonder if the people that got injured in those minor little attacks with the drones, I wonder if the people that got killed in those minor little attacks of the drones in the northern cities of Israel, I wonder of the damage of the businesses of those minor little things in the drones, if they would feel the same way that it's not a big deal.
Where it is, and he ends up doing I saw that attack. I saw where that bomb went. Did you see what that was a vicious, that was too much.
It was not too much. It was not too much. I love you, Mr. President. It was not too much.
You can do too much also.
No, you can't. Not with this bunch. No, you're not dealing with people. This is where I disagree with you. You can't do too much with people that are committed to your death. I'm sorry, and I heard JD say it today on one of the shows. I saw the clip, and he made the statement. He says, we need to tell Israel that they can't kill their way out of this problem. Well, guess what, JD? Neither can we. We have found out, you put that mantle on Israel, and you put that mantra on Israel that you can't shoot your way out of this, and you can't kill your way out of this. Well, what exactly would you suggest they do, JD? Have a cup of tea? Have a little brisket? Have some hummus and sit down and put their arm around the people that are trying to kill him? Roll the tape. Burns me.
We've had a very effective relationship. Without the United States, there would be no Israel. Without me, there would be no Israel, because no other president was willing to do what I did. I've had a great relationship with Bibi, but now Bibi has to be more responsible with respect to Lebanon.
More responsible to Lebanon, while Lebanon is allowing Hezbollah to not be responsible with Israel and blow them to smithereens. Folks, as I said, even within the last 24 hours, the rockets are still coming. Even after Trump makes this big grand play. And again, folks, I know it sounds like I'm coming down on President Trump. I'm not coming down on President Trump. This is a disagreement I've got. I have got a vehement disagreement with this situation. You do not throw... JD wants to claim that Israel should not throw her friend under the bus. Well, let me explain to JD that we don't need to throw our friend under the bus either. It works two ways. I know all of us have got friends like that. That as long as it benefits them to be your friend, they're your friend. And when it don't, they throw you to the curb and they don't talk to you for 6 months. I know there are a lot of people out there that are like that. Whatever they can get out of you, that's why they judge and measure their friendship with you. And that's how we think we measure it with them. No, that's not what friendship is. No, a friendship is a mutual respect. Mutual respect. Roll tape.
Lebanon used to be a great country. It was a country where you had professors, doctors, lawyers. The great intellect was in Lebanon. Now it's terrible. I would say of all countries, they've been treated the worst. And they can't defend themselves. And they have Hezbollah, which is a problem for them. So, no, I'm not happy with the way Israel has handled themselves with Lebanon and with Hezbollah. They should have been able to do the job faster. It just goes on forever.
Faster. I say it again, folks. Israel is dealing with a mortal enemy that wants to kill them. She's dealing on fronts and wars on 7 fronts to push that country in the Mediterranean Sea. How much faster does Trump want this to go? If he lent real help over there to her, and I know why he's not doing it, because he don't want to tick off the Arab world. He don't want to tick off the gas guzzlers and the ones that extort us for gas. And every time that we have a hiccup, the reason we've paid $5 a gallon of gas over the last 2 weeks is because that Iran's held us hostage, because we've just not gone in there and done what we should do. Why didn't Trump do it quicker? We wouldn't have been having to suffer at the pump for a month. And again, I'm not trying to be sarcastic, folks. If this stuff burns me up, and hearing J.D. Vance today, not good.
And when that happens, it throws a negative light on the big deal. And
a negative light on the big deal.
To deal with Iran. So when you ask me about Bibi, an unbelievable relationship. But Israel would have been blown up a long time ago had I not gotten involved. 2 things I did. I terminated the Iran nuclear deal. Barack Hussein Obama sold out Israel for Iran. He went to Iran. He sold them out. How anybody can vote for this guy or the party, the Democrats I call them, because they're dumb. They're dumb people. That's number one. How anybody can vote for them. And the second was the B-2 bombers, just totally destroyed. So they had the right, the JCPOA. I watch these politicians. I watched this Senator Reid that nobody ever heard of the other day. Well, this deal is the same as the deal Barack Obama. No.
And he would go on to say in that same interview, he may have said it, and I was a little wired up about it hearing, but he said that if it wasn't for me, Israel wouldn't exist. Israel's been in existence for 4,000 years, folks. And he's insinuating that because of this Iranian deal, he's saving Israel from destruction. Know what he's doing. He has given their enemies a lifeline. And the 2 countries that he mentions want to destroy that country and blow them off the freaking map. So I'm going to let this play out. I will tell you this, and this is how I feel about it tonight. I'm going to let this play out, but I want to play this. It's an audio. It's probably not going to show the video, but this sort of explains this a little bit better. This is a podcaster, and I'll mention her name here. I think hopefully this will come up.
This was a great deal for America and a bad deal for Israel. I would champion it because I see myself as an America First American. The problem is that it's an absolutely disastrous deal that has brought us to our knees weeks before our 250th birthday. This is an utter humiliation of the United States, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows it, but especially Iran knows it. They are celebrating this. They are still calling us the enemy. And while Iran celebrates this and sneers at us for totally capitulating when we had complete military superiority over them, J.D. Vance is out there criticizing Israel, making up fantasies about how it is Israel's fault and Israel wants Iran to be a failed state. And if only Israel would lay down its arms and allow Hezbollah to keep attacking it, there would be peace in the Middle East. It is disgusting. It is the complete Tucker Carlsonification of the Vice President of the United States. And it is utterly deplorable. The only good thing I can say about it is if this was a dry run for Vance 2028, we sure learned a lot.
Way to say it. She said it. The Tucker Carlsonization of J.D. Vance. Not going to disagree with that. Look, folks, I'm going to play this. This is Mike Huckabee. I'll play it again tonight. I played this Tuesday night. I'll put it like this. If you hear over the weekend that Mike Huckabee is no longer the ambassador to Israel, this is probably why. Roll the tape.
But it is also my job to represent the importance of Israel to the United States. This is just another reminder that it is your heritage, without a doubt. But, Minister, it is also the heritage of the United States. Without Israel, without the Jewish Foundation, there would not be an America. We owe our very existence for what happened in this land.
Anyway, that was, of course, Mike Huckabee. Good man. And folks, I want to just bring this all in, and I don't be wishing lightning strike the White House, folks. Don't be doing that. I'm not saying that there were not some things in that speech by Trump that I didn't agree with. Because I was telling Cleo this today. We were talking about this. By the way, there's a certain soccer game coming up in about 15 hours between the USA and Australia. I won't say who will win that. USA. 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 But anyway. Get killed for that one. But she and I both, and I know some of you, I saw the comment of somebody tonight said, your head's turning about this. My head's turning about it too. I do not understand the rhetoric. I understand. I get the Iranian thing. I am all in with what Trump's doing with Iran. I am all in with him taking a shot, and if it don't work out, then you bomb them into the Middle Ages. I'm okay with that. I'm actually not upset with the MOU. If it would have been me, I would have preferred that since we're already bombing them and we've already got them on the ropes, that we just go ahead and clean it out, clean the mullahs out, say we're not going to stop until you step down, you're gone. The blood of 46,000 Iranians are on our hands right now. Again. And if that regime starts killing their own people over the next few weeks, then that piece of paper that we've got is not even worth the paper it's written on. And that's how they're going to retaliate. They're probably going to do something very similar. They may do that. I don't know. I'm all in on Trump's idea. I slightly disagree with the young lady's statement about the deal humiliated us. No, it actually didn't. But what's bothering me, and I think it's what's bothering all of you that's listening to me tonight, and it does make us turn our head. I told Cleo this today. I said, I expected this. I expect this kind of rhetoric from a left-leaning Democrat White House. I do not and did not expect this coming from this White House. This is the kind of stuff that Barack Obama would say. This is the kind of stuff Joe Biden would say publicly. Kamala Harris. And granted, it would be a million times worse if Kamala was in this place. We wouldn't even be talking about Iran tonight. They'd be running roughshod over Israel already. And I will agree to a degree, and listen to me, Trump has been a very favorable president to Israel, more than probably any president I've known, even including Reagan. The only presidents that have shown any kind of somewhat favor to Israel since I have understood politics was Ronald Reagan, George Bush Jr., and Trump. And you say, Bush Jr.? Yeah, at the beginning, his first term, he did. He was being schooled by his daddy to push that Palestinian state, which has been a failed idea for 30 years now. And it's never going to happen. Not now, it ain't. But Bush Jr. did some good things toward Israel until he lost his mind. Look, I cannot answer the question to any of you, why is Trump doing this? I don't know. I don't know. I believe we've got a shot to dismantle this regime, and we need to take it. And if Trump's a man of his word, which I believe that, and this is where we have to have faith in our president to a degree too, if he's sincere about what he said yesterday in those remarks at that podium with Lutnick and Rubio by his side, and he said, I have told them they've got 60 days to dismantle this program or the bombing starts back again. I'm going to make a suggestion tonight, and I'm going to take your comments and questions because we're running out of time. It's 12:30 and it's late, and I want you to be able to get up with me to be in my Bible study in the morning. Listen to me. I'll deal with the teacher probably tomorrow night. I'll get the video down. It's pathetic. It's disgusting what she did. She should have been fired a long time ago for doing it. But I'm on Trump tonight, and I want to say this. If he does that, I would encourage all of us, before we lose our lunch, because Chris is close to losing his lunch over this. I am. And I don't want to have my comments taken, well, Chris has just turned on Trump, because that's how the right acts, and it's how people act. If you say something that you disagree with the president, then you become an enemy of his. That's what JD was trying to insinuate today. Those people in Israel's cabinet, they don't hate America, folks. I know those people over there. They love this country. They love the American president. They love President Trump. But they can't sit there and keep letting Hezbollah and Hamas attack them without defending themselves. That's not doing something to undermine a peace deal that is not even in existence right now. By the way, this MOU is not even anything other than a memorandum of intent. And in 60 days, this is what, June? So that means in August. I'm going to give this to August 30th. And we're going to see how this plays out. I'm not going to rail and rant about it. I may play videos about it and give you my comment about it. But I'm going to make a suggestion to all of us tonight. For the peace of mind and for your head not to spin clean off of why you wonder why Trump's doing this. I'm going to give the president the benefit of the doubt for now. That he maybe knows more than Chris McDonald does, and I probably would say he probably surely does know more than I know. And I tend to believe that Bibi and him may not have as a volatile relationship as we may think. But I will say this tonight. My respect for Bibi Netanyahu has almost quadrupled in all this, because he has not trashed Trump publicly. All he said is, if Israel has to go in this alone, we're going to go at it alone. Trump has not returned that favor. And saying things like, well, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't even exist. If it wasn't for me, you'd be in jail. If it wasn't for me, Israel this. And if it wasn't for me, for Israel that. He's no better than the Tucker Carlsons of this world and the Candace Owens and the Megyn Kellys. And when you send your vice president on The View and you send your vice president on these shows, it undermines the integrity of that office. It undermines you, Mr. President. It undermines J.D. Vance's office as vice president, because you are shaking hands with people that hate our best friend in the Middle East and say vile things and anti-Semitic remarks. You're no better than Stu Peters. You know better than Candace Owens. You know better than Megyn. You know better than the Hodge twins. And I would hope that the office of the presidency would catch on and understand that this is a war. And yes, it is important that we bring Iran to the table. But they're not at the table yet, Mr. President. And you got a friend over there that needs your help. And it's not you that's protected Israel, my friend. It's been the God of heaven. It's been the God of heaven. It's not you. And you're not the boss of this one. You may be the boss of the Europeans, but in this situation, you're not the boss. And I'll say that with all due respect tonight. I know that's going to be misconstrued and taken and twisted. I'm going to just say it like that. I'm just saying, anyway. Are you with me? If you believe that, say amen. Say amen. Jay, I think that your comment about the midterms is right. I agree with that. I think this is about the midterms. And JD is good as said it, and there's been others that have good as said it tonight. They really have. We're going to talk about the midterms coming up. I really want to talk more about the. This is Michelle Obama. I do want to play this. If you thought Barack was bad today, listen to this mess. And we're going to go ahead and put your questions. If you got any questions, we're going to take about 15 more minutes here. We're going to get you out of here by 12:45. It's been a good show tonight. It's about an hour, other than the little blip at the beginning. This is Michelle O. Listen to this mess.
What it truly means to be a dreamer. These folks aren't Americans too. They are America. They are the beating heart of this country.
Really? Sounds like Michelle hasn't been watching Fox News today because one of those dreamers, the beating hearts, is accused of being the ringleader in a massive terror plot targeting an event at the White House. I'm talking about the UFC event. Really? Meanwhile, according to the DHS, this is the guy, Abraham Alvarez, who went by the encrypted moniker Shepherd online. He's a Mexican illegal alien who came here as a child, a so-called dreamer, overstayed his visa, but instead of being deported, the Obama administration rewarded him with DACA status. He could begin to dream. Meanwhile, it's our nightmare. The DOJ revealing the sickening level of planning he did for this attack, orchestrating a multi-tier slaughter, including weaponizing drones. So Alvarez allegedly asked one of his minions to build as many drones as deadly as he can get, and knowing that an attack would send the stampede scrambling for safety, he planned a secondary kill zone. This as a system so broken that a radicalized illegal alien is protected from deportation for over a decade, only to turn around and plan a massacre at the White House on the lawn. Your reactions.
All right, and that was Brian Kilmeade tonight on Laura Ingram's program, and I left the commentary in there for a reason. The guy that was behind the attempt Saturday night on the White House was a dreamer that came into this country in 2014. We're going to look at him more tomorrow night. During the Obama years, Michelle Obama was out there telling us today that these are the kind of people, they're not just part of America, they are America. Mrs. Ex-First Lady, I vehemently disagree. No, they're not America. They're terrorists. They're terrorists. They're terrorists, but far be it from me to disturb your presidential rant and library. All righty, I'm done. I've got more, but I'm done tonight. You got something to say? It's your turn. It's your turn. Lori, it's not just the chosen people thing is important, but you got to realize that all who are believers are God's chosen people. It goes beyond Israel. This is not about the state per se, and I'm with you. They have got a unique calling on them, and they've got a unique place in God's heart. They do. And I understand your comment. I'm not taking issue with it. But what we need to understand when we say that they're God's chosen people, we need to understand the depth of that statement. It goes way beyond political issues like we're having right now. It goes way beyond anything. And I'm going to say this, folks, about the Persian Empire. This is how futile this Iranian deal is. And I think it was Jack Hibbs, that he basically brought up something that I have been feeling in my own spirit when he said that, look, and I even did a show on this. We talked about it one morning on the Bible study, and I think we mentioned it here on a Wednesday night recently. Iran, the Persian Empire is Iran. When you see the word Persia in the Bible, it's speaking of the land of Iran. And folks, she's not going anywhere. The regime might go somewhere. That regime might change. But that country of Iran and Persia is going to be with the Antichrist when he comes against Israel. So neither nation are going anywhere. Neither nation's going anywhere. The one nation that we don't know where it's going to be is ours. So it goes a lot deeper, Lori, than just them being God's chosen people. There is a plan of God for this earth that's coming. And both nations, both Israel and Iran, play a vital, unique role in the end times. So I get it, but I just wanted to clarify that because you're right. Anyway, Carol Smith says, do you think his ego and being peacemaker is affecting his decision maker? Is Chris McDonald's hair white and messed up here? Does that answer your question, Carol? Does Chris have a cowboy hat on tonight? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. What's that commercial? Let go my ego. What is that? Eggo waffles? Y'all remember those commercials? We need to pray that the devil let go Trump's ego. Somebody needs saving tonight. No, seriously, Carol, all jokes aside, I think that is some of this. I do. It's always, look, it's what we voted for. The same ego that drives us crazy sometimes, that same ego has kept this country out of a lot of messes, and it's brought this country back because he's been strong and a leader to make some right decisions, to make things right as they should have been. And that's the kind of leader we want. So it's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. It's great when it's used for the right thing, and in this situation, it's not so great. He needs a little humility about this. And this is the thing. And again, I can separate the two. I know many people can't. I can separate the two issues. The Iranian issue to me is separate than the Hezbollah rockets going into Israel. And I think that's part of the problem with him and Vance. They can't. Because if they sit there and allow the Iranians to manipulate us and threaten us and say, well, if Israel attacks the Houthis, then we're not going to come to the table. You know what I would say to them? I would say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom! That's what I would say. I don't care if you come to the table or not. If you don't come to the table, you're not going to have a capital. How about them apples? They're not going to manipulate me. I wouldn't let them do it. And Trump is, I know that this part of him that he don't want to keep bombing and bombing and bombing, he's not dealing with a normal enemy. I hate to tell him, he's dealing with people, that's all they respect. That's all they respect. Do you realize tonight, and again, there's a lot of things we didn't get to tonight, and I have not forgotten about the teacher. There is a crazy nut teacher that got fired out in Colorado, and I'll deal with that tomorrow night. But they're the leader of whatever's left of that remnant party over there. He's out there threatening America tonight on his X account. He's basically sending the same threats, making the same overtures that they were making before we started bombing them. This has not changed them. I can separate the two. You deal with Iran, let Israel deal with Hezbollah. Don't let these Iranians push you around. Don't let these Iranians manipulate you. It's crazy. They wouldn't threaten me. I would tell them, say, well, tell you what, you don't want to negotiate? I don't care what Israel does. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Anyway, good stuff. All right, any other questions? I'm giving you a chance. I'm giving you a chance. Anything you want to say tonight? Good to see some new names in the house. Taryn Hawkins, good to see you. This whole deal has not set well with me either, Taryn. It's not. I understand what he's trying to do, but I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned by some of the rhetoric that he's been saying. Susan, JD going on The View, I wouldn't have done it personally, but for whatever motivated him to do it, I mean, he held his own against that crowd. He made Whoopi Goldberg look like a fool, which that was well worth the price of admission. She was trying to play the race card, claiming that the administration was discriminating against blacks, and JD looked over at her and said, well, Whoopi, can you name me one example? And she liked to choke on her hypocrisy and whatever. So, anyway, it didn't bother me as much. Well, CJ, you say, what is it going to take for some people in our government to understand that some people you just can't make a deal with, although your efforts might be noble? CJ, that has been the problem of this government way before Trump. This goes way back. This is how we've always been. And it's an American thing. We have tried to make peace with enemies through the years that we thought had our best interest. And, when you get down to it, nobody has our best interest. And it's why we voted for Trump. Because we've had presidents in the past, and what Barack Obama did with the Iranians, he did what JD said was there were some things in that video that was true. Obama gave the mullahs money and then came back to the country and said, well, I've paid them off and they're not going to produce weapons of mass destruction. And I mean, even Morgan Freeman was out there putting out videos. They are not going to get the bomb. Yeah, they are. They had, folks, the uranium enrichment material that we bombed in June of last year, and now what we did this time, if they had not been enriching uranium for bombs, we wouldn't have had to go out there and do what we did now. CJ, to your question, it's an American thing. It's just been the Achilles heel of this government for many, many years. We did it in Vietnam. We thought we could negotiate a peace with the communists there in Vietnam, and we thought we could negotiate with Hanoi, and we wound up with a brutal conflict that cost tens of thousands of lives, and it basically embarrassed this country, and our dear buddy James Akers, and I got another dear friend Richard Barnhart over in Jacksonville, precious family, I love them, they're both Vietnam vets, and they, I feel for them because the country, the stench of Vietnam, people spit on the soldiers coming back, and the people they should have been spitting on was not the soldiers. They should have been at the White House spitting on the leaders that were running that war from the White House, doing the same thing you just talked about. Sometimes, and the way I look at it is, I got to close because it's 15 till. If we're going to fight a war, let's fight. Let's fight. Don't put this political spin on this stuff. That is another disturbing thing about this. If we had these people on the ropes, and it's just an American thing. And when Richard Nixon dropped the bombs on Hanoi like he did when he came into office, the Vietnamese said, okay, we're done. We're done. And he brought our boys home. But he made sure that they knew that the American government was not going to play around with them anymore. They knew then that Lyndon Johnson days were over. And it was Nixon's turn. And Nixon said, I'm not going to put up with it. That's why Richard Nixon was not as bad as president as we've all been taught. Nixon did some good things while he was in office. He really did. Except for Watergate. Not good. But anyway, there was reasons why he did Watergate. Anything else? Anything else? Real quick, let me check Facebook tonight. It's good to see, who was that over there? I wanted to give a shout out to, who was the young lady? Vicky, I did hear about the teacher that graded her young students on kissing their same-sex friends. That was atrocious. Come on back, be with me tomorrow night. It's good to see you tonight. New name. We're going to talk about that tomorrow night. It was atrocious. Yes. All righty. Well, listen, I hope you enjoyed the Late Night McFiles special on this Thursday night. I want to just give a shout out to Miss Judge Sherilyn Allen. God bless her. What a great interview we had with her tonight. That's why I did this late with not going at the end of her interview, because I didn't want to ruin her interview at all. I wanted that interview to stand on its own. Now, I've run my mouth a lot tonight, and I probably have gotten myself in so much trouble you can't shake a stick at it. It's all right. It's okay. I've learned to laugh about it. I used to get so wired up, I'd be choking. I'd be choking at the end of a show from the stress of it. I don't choke anymore. I laugh. I'm laughing about it. These opinions are mine, folks. This is what we call the McFiles. We've been doing this for 8 years, and I'm learning to have fun. I've just now, after 8 years, this is fun to me. And these opinions are mine. You do not have to agree with all of them, and some won't, and that's okay. It's all right. I'm still going to love you, still going to hug your neck, laugh with you, may laugh at you, but I'll hug your neck. I'll hug your neck. Say it's okay. We can disagree. I disagree with my own family sometimes, and they disagree with me, but we still hug each other and laugh and cry sometimes too. But I want to tell you this, folks, tonight. We need to pray for our country. We do. We need to pray for President Trump. Let's all take a chill. Play this thing out. Let's see what happens over the next 60 days. And I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm even willing to give him the benefit of the doubt on Israel, but I would remind him that he's not the reason Israel exists. And he's not the one protecting Israel. happening because the God of heaven is called the God of Israel. And Zion is his city, and Zion is Jerusalem. And I'll leave it at that tonight. All righty. Australia's. Cleo wasn't in the house tonight. I almost thought she would be, but it's okay. We missed her tonight. But she'll be back tomorrow, this next week. But I do wish both teams the best tomorrow afternoon. Australia versus USA. I was trying to make a wager with her, but I don't know what we would wager. We're just 8 continents away from each other, but it's so funny. And I do wish the Australian team the best. I love Australia, and Cleo has been such a blessing to this show, and she knows that she's valued and cherished beyond words to me, and she has helped us so much over these last 8 years. She's been with us from the start, and I do wish the Australian team the best tomorrow. I hope the U.S. wins. Now, she told me, I can't remember how the text read exactly. She said, may the best team win, and then she put a little dash, Australia. So I'm going to say the same thing tonight. Going out, may the best team win. And that's going to be the red, white, and blue. And somebody needs to say amen tonight. Somebody needs to say yay. Need to say yay. Yay, yay, yay. Yay, 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 yay. All righty. Listen, God bless you out there. God bless your families. God bless this great nation of America. I will see you back here in the morning early. And then we'll be here late tomorrow night. Have a good night, everybody. Be blessed out there. Hope you enjoyed the show. Put some fire in the house if you did. God bless and good night.